Hey, we're back. It's Cubfidential, season 4. That was the weirdest opening segment I've ever seen. It's like I don't have a producer. Denzel, get in here now. Come on in.
Oh man, what's going on now?
You're the producer. How you just throw me on the screen and press go live? You didn't even tell me.
I know it's been some months. My bad. It was a cold open. Okay, all right. So let's take two of this real quick. As a matter of fact, hold on. Let's just go ahead and do this right, because, ladies and gentlemen, it is season 4. We got some sponsors out there in Chicago. We got people all over the land that's tuned in. This is season 4 of Confidential. I am your producer and occasional QB2 relief pitcher, Denzel Snipes. Now we got a loaded opening show for you all. And last but not least is the guy who almost didn't make it because he got a cracked tooth, and now he's got like this boot on his, like his walking boot, chewing boot on his tooth. But he was so gracious to have made it today. He's my hero. He's your hero, our hero, the Brooklyn Brawler himself, JB Ellis.
What's going on, Denzel? That was an opening. I don't know what you were doing before, but we got a lot to talk about. We're going international. Japan, we're coming. Confidential will be there. I mean, what other shows are going to be in Tokyo besides, you know, Marquee and Confidential? If you're part of a Cub show and you're going to be in Japan, let me know because I want to do a little tally. I have a feeling it's going to be very few. All right, so let's get the show started. We got all of our returning guys here. Got a great cast. Let's start out with Jason.
What's up, JB?
Welcome back, man. Season 2 for you. Season 4 for
Yeah,
all of us.
yeah.
So
Happy to be
let,
back.
glad to have you. So we're going to talk a little bit about the spring training games, but before we do that, uh, we're about a week and a half from the opening season. I'm not going to be on the show next week because I'll be in traveling to Japan. So Denzel's going to host. So everyone watching right now, you're stuck with Denzel next week. I'm letting you know in advance. But I got a special show lined up for you while we're in Tokyo, so don't worry. Um, but like, what are your thoughts of this Cub season? I want to hear from you first.
Well, I think they brought on some pieces that I really like. Obviously they're off to a good start in spring training. They're 9-2 right now. Um, Scoring lots of runs. In fact, they scored 16 against the Padres the other day. So, but I do like the pieces that they added. I think they added some veteran leadership to that team, and I hope for good things this year.
All right. Well, I think they're going to be in the race. Obviously the team they're playing in Tokyo has the big monkey on their back. They're everybody's favorite to win the World Series, ALNL. I mean, they are
Yeah.
stacked, and we get to start up against them in Tokyo. Uh, Beat the crap out of them to start spring training. I don't know how much you could take stock in that, but let's talk about the game against the Padres. They won 16-1 uh, on the fourth. Imanaga Showtime. Four
Yep.
innings pitched, three strikeouts. What's your thoughts on that game?
Obviously, a good start for him. He looked really good out there on the bump, and hoping to get a repeat from last year.
Yeah, I mean, do you think he has a lot of pressure on him the way this team's set up that he's the guy and he's got to perform, or do you think he's just cool, calm, and collective?
I think he's cool, calm, and collective. Obviously, they were making a kind of a big deal about his hair, so I don't know if it got tucked under a band or what, but he's still the same Shota, and he's going out there to take the bump, and proving to everybody why he's, second good starter on that team, maybe even the first.
So, I mean, 18 hits, 16 runs, 15 RBIs, seven strikeouts, which is that's not too bad in a 9 inning game in the MLB this time.
Yeah.
The pitching staff, you had six guys go. The only guy that gave up a run was Hodge. What were your thoughts on the overall performance in this 16-1 game?
I mean, they were like 500 for leaving runners in scoring position, so they were 12 for 23, and they left 8 on base. That's not bad, but you're still scoring 16 runs. So, and PCA was impressive once again by hitting a little league home run.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a lot of speed. I just like him.
Yeah, he's a demon.
Think he's going to be around for a lot of years if the Cubs are smart. He's
Yeah,
still really young. Yeah,
yeah, he's gonna be a game changer. If he gets on the base pass, um, anything could happen with him.
yeah. And then, what's your thoughts so far on how Happa started out the year in spring
I got to
training?
be honest with you. I haven't seen many games this year. Um, so I haven't really seen how Pat performed, but obviously he's a leader in the dugout, a leader on the field. So hopefully we have some more good things from him this year again.
All right. So then the day before, another Cubs route, they played the Diamondbacks on the third, 10-2. Workman went 2 for 3 with an RBI. What's your thoughts so far on Workman's spring?
I mean, Workman's been amazing. He's been one of the highlights of spring training. He's batting 364. He's got 2 home runs and 8 RBIs. So he's been a bonus.
Yeah, I mean, he's filling in well. He's, has a possibility of making the team. What are your thoughts if he's going to make the team right now?
Yeah, I think he would be an added bonus, the way that he's playing right now. And I mean, Shaw just got like I think his first start the other day, at third base, and you got Turner, who he could play third base or DH for the team. So, it's just going to be a matter of if they could fit him in on the roster.
So, what's your thoughts of the Cactus League spring training overall?
I mean, personally, it's just spring training games. It's just everybody trying to get back into shape and game playing situations and work on what they need to work on through the year.
I hear you, man. Well, I definitely appreciate you coming on tonight. Definitely look forward to speaking with you. What about in Tokyo? And
Definitely.
a lot of other great things planned for the year. But we'll definitely be in touch, man. I appreciate you.
All right, JB.
Have a good one.
Yep. You
All right, next we're bringing in a guy we didn't see much last year, but like the prodigal son, he's returned. Mr. Dubs himself, the pundit's pundit, Jacob Christner. Come on in.
It was Ubs, not Dubs. But
Well, I'm giving you a D.
I was just on White Sox Cubfidential, but after the 90 seconds, I came over here.
I don't know. Nobody wants to be associated with the White Sox, not even their own players. So it's
That's why
pretty
it's 90
bad.
seconds.
Pretty bad. So what's been going on? How you doing?
Been pretty good. I mean, life's pretty good. Everything. I got booked on a couple more shows and everything like that. So I'm slowly getting back into the world.
Nice. Glad to hear that.
Things are building up and all that kind of stuff. So, and then I'm getting ready for the Cubs season.
Nice. Well, you're going to debut a new segment that we have not done yet. It's Watch Cub Alert. Second baseman, outfielder James Triantos, 2024 stats: 300 batting average, nice even 300, 7 home runs, 52 RBIs, 2 for 2, 2 runs, 2 ribbies versus the Padres on the fourth. What's your thoughts of this kid?
The thing is, I mean, it's like, what I love with those 2 for 2? 0 Ks. 0 Ks. And that's like, and you're saying 300 batting average, 7 home runs, 52 RBIs. That feels like 1987. So it's kind of got a little bit of nostalgia. You could remember at second base. I'm not going to say that's Sandberg because Sandberg is always about 25. But I'm talking about old school second basemen. They were a bit smaller. They had that kind they have that 300 batting average. They get on, they steal bases, that sort of deal. That's what he feels like. And I kind of like that idea. And the thing is, he had no Ks because he was 2 for 2. I hope he can limit that there. Just like with the 16-1 game, I don't mind, other than PCA, which at his speed, he doesn't need to be striking out. Every other strikeout was like the bench. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So if it's the bench guys and they're trying to make the team, I ain't going to throw a fit on the strikeouts. That's what most of the strikeouts have been so far
So what
this
do you-
year. Everybody's getting on base.
What do you think Triantos's projection is for this year? AAA getting called up.
Called up eventually because there's going to be injuries. You know,
Okay.
but I see a good. If it's AAA, I see a good 320, and he's coming up.
Okay.
It's like there's going to be injuries, or he's going to be in September, regardless.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like
All right.
as long as he can. I mean, as long as he keeps they keep the bat on the ball. I mean, and there's bases. That's the number one thing I'm loving about this spring training. I was thinking 7, but there's 5 games where they have over 10 runs. All of the strikeouts are basically from the bench guys, outside of a couple of them.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
what I want to see for the season. But with that, will they keep that up in the Tokyo series?
Oh, we're going to get to the Tokyo series now. So again, Cubfidential will be live in Tokyo sometime before opening day in Tokyo, which is March 19th at some ungodly hour at 5 something in the morning. So when you guys are waking up at 5 something in the morning to watch the game, it'll be nighttime for me, and I will have already spent my whole day prepping for the game. You know, got whatever things they have in the Tokyo Dome, whatever type of snacks they have, I will partake and see what we can get into. Gonna have a special wardrobe made up just for the game, which we'll talk about more over the next week or so.
Is it going to be a kimono with the Cubfidential on it?
No, but that would be a cool idea. You know, there are 7 days in Tokyo, so you never know.
Right.
But you know, it's going to be exciting. I'll be at the opening day of the Cubs there against the Dodgers, the world champion Dodgers.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna have Imanaga versus Yamamoto.
I'm
sure
nice.
Shote will be out there. Otani, and gonna be very interesting to see how the crowd reacts to, you know, the influx of Japanese players on these two teams, and you know, the reaction to seeing them come home to play a couple of games. What's your thoughts on that first?
I love being in Japan for one thing, because I've always loved Japanese baseball. Always have loved Japanese baseball, because throughout the time when I was growing up, when you watched Japanese baseball, it was a completely limited mistakes, limited strikeouts, limited everything, complete discipline. You know, maybe an error once in a while. You know what I'm saying? It kind of reminds you of the movie Mr. Baseball. The only thing that reminds you of Mr. Baseball is Japan. But the big thing I look at, though, is the fact that it's such a different world, that we have so many Japanese players, that there are more mistakes. So what will they say? But here's my question: is it going to? The game's going to be on ESPN, correct?
That's a great question. I don't know. We didn't buy the rights this year.
The reason I ask is because the normal camera angle on a Japanese game, and I've seen them for a long time, you're following the ball.
Right.
You're following the ball when it's hit. So it's like, is it going to be a regular major league type of deal, you know, as far as the production, or is it going to be Japanese?
That's a great question. I think that they'll probably have the U.S. broadcast, because I'm sure there'll be different broadcasts. I am sure that we'll watch it the way we're used to, and I'm sure that, you know, the Japanese broadcast will be done the way that they're used to watching it, because there are multiple cameramen and multiple producers, I'm sure, that are there with different networks. But it'll be interesting to see. So how do you think the Cubs will stack up to start the season there? What do you think the travel does to these teams? I mean, are they fully ready for games on March 19th?
Well, here's what I like. I like that it's March 19th and they hold off a few days after, because that is absolutely, thank you very much. That is absolutely the jet lag. That is absolutely going to Japan, going to everything. What's about 18-hour trip? So
it is from New York. It is a 16-hour flight, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I remember all the WWF stories. They talk about going to Japan and be 16 to 18 hours. So so it'll
be a couple hours quicker from Arizona, maybe 3 or 4.
Yeah, but
it's still a long flight.
Oh, it's a monstrous flight. And it's like, so yeah, that was a brilliant idea to make it on the 19th. It's going to take a little time. It's going to take a little time for recovery. And that's the thing. That's what would happen because these games in the past, they would have put it right they would put them right on opening day. Like a Japanese game. Say that they did that.
Last year they did the same thing. They had a little space. It was in the middle of March.
Right. I'm talking about the past. I'm talking about the past when they would do it. They're learning about what these leagues are doing now is they're learning about athletes recovery.
Yeah,
and
I do like.
Go ahead.
No, I do like the fact that they're playing a couple of spring training games prior to exhibition games, not spring training. Prior to the opening day, they're both playing some Japanese teams. There'll be 2 doubleheaders. I believe they are Sunday and Monday, if I'm correct. I think they have a day off before the series opener. I'd have to check the schedule, but there are 2 doubleheaders that fans will get a chance to watch. And, I think to me that's more fascinating than seeing the regular opening day because, the Japanese league has some really good players, a different style of baseball. And, I mean, they don't do things the way we do here. I'm curious to see how it plays apart between the Japanese teams and the American teams. How do you see that going?
Well, here's the thing. I'm going to be asking about this. It's like it's going to be like a sideshow if there's like 8 home runs between the teams. Sometimes we'll get that here in the States. You know what I mean? It's going to be like a sideshow. It's like, but it's like if you see a 4-3 game and you see bunts and you see people on base and moving bases and doing stuff, that's what they're used to. So and like I said, I've always liked Japanese ball. It's like when they remember the first years of the World Baseball Classic, which is coming up in 26, by the way. The first years of the World Baseball Classic, I always had Japan in the Final Four or winning it or whatever. Always did. Because they just did not make mistakes.
Definitely. So that's all the time we got for you, Mr. Ubbs. You was great seeing you again.
Hopefully you'll see me more.
That's what we hope. But where can people find you?
Well, right now you'll see me on my TikTok. I got my TikTok. I am Jake the Pundit. I believe it's still a thing. I do a double check. And no more X, just letting everybody know. But I'm also building a Kick and a Patreon. Building those up ever since then. And there's going to be a couple of different new shows that I'm working with, and I'm going to be getting booked a little more. So I'll just be putting it on Facebook and telling everybody.
Sounds good, man. Good having you back. Enjoy. We'll talk more.
Take care, buddy.
All right. Let's get our fiery competitor. Guy does not lack the energy. He's the opposite of me, but yet we work well together. Good old Nick Botkins.
What's up, baby? We are back. It is, your boy's back. The Cubs are back. Someday, hopefully, my beard will be back soon. So, but nonetheless, the Cubs are, we're semi back.
So, I mean, off season, we're getting close. We're like 2 weeks from opening day.
Yeah, it's wild. It's weird because it's like we're 2 weeks from opening day. And everybody's still going to be in spring training. And then there's still like spring training games even after the Tokyo series. So that's kind of weird. So it's just a weird thing. But nonetheless, why not, put the future NLCS, championship series on game 1.
That's what I'm saying. Let's get right to it. Why waste the time? Let's have a preview. I mean,
let's hope.
We beat the hell out of them, game 1. What was the score? Like 100 to 0.2 or something?
I mean, it's preseason. I mean, that's like, Bears fans, being happy that they were 4-0 in the preseason. So it doesn't really matter.
Take the W's when you have them. We could always, figure out later what's wrong. But speaking of W's, what do we got to do in Tokyo to win a couple of games? Or first, let's start with opening day. What are we going to do to win that first game?
I mean, that's tough, right? We're seeing, I think it's going to be Shohei, right? Versus Imaga, man. Like that's tough. I think if you can get to Shohei early, that'll be the key. Shohei hasn't obviously pitched in over a year, so like if you can rattle him early, kind of get some guys on base.
It's actually going to be Yamamoto is going to
Oh,
start.
okay, Yamamoto. I knew it was Japanese versus like the two. I knew it was two Japanese pitchers because it's like the first time that's ever happened in the history of baseball. The same thing though, like get to them early, get on base, get the bats going. Imanaga's going to have to settle in and and limit the hits and limit their bait on the bases because man, I mean, let's face it, the Dodgers, they're good. They're going to be good, and let's not. It's game one, so it is what it is. There's 162 games, but let's just go out here and start. Let's get on the right foot and start the season off with a W. But I think it's going to be a lot of hey, we need some good bats, long, lengthy at bats. So let's make them pitch to us. Don't give them anything and get on base, cause some chaos on the bases, and then hopefully back in his home country, Imanaga pitches really well and continues to do what he did last year.
So I want you to imagine the scene. In Chicago, it's going to be about 5:10 in the morning for first pitch. The Cubs are the home team game one. Imanaga is going to be on the mound, and there's going to be this baseball player called Shohei Ohtani who's going to come up in the top of the first. So you're going to have Imanaga versus Ohtani in the top of the first inning, sometime before 5:20 in the morning, Chicago time. What do you think the Tokyo Dome is going to be doing when that happens? How loud is that place going to be?
Oh, I think it's going to be incredible. I spent a little bit of time in Japan about a little over 15 years ago. So if you see like a young 20-year-old, 15-year-old, somewhere around there, like kind of my height or build, just don't introduce yourself, JB. Just keep walking, will you? But that place is going to be ecstatic. We know they love their baseball there. They love three things over. They love in sports wise, professional wrestling, baseball, and sumo wrestling. They're all three of the biggest sports over there. So that dome's going to be rocking, and I think the atmosphere is going to be pretty electric.
Yeah, I mean, I've been to playoff and World Series games that were amazing. I think because of the Japanese superstars on both of these teams, it's going to be like a World Series game because, they're bringing them home. When I saw the commercials that the Cubs put out for this, MLB put out for this last year, and I was debating on whether to go or not, I was like, wow, this looks really cool. What a concept, And I think it's a home run. I can't wait to see how they pull it off.
Yeah, they're I mean, they're not as like loud, I don't think, as us. Like, if you go to like a professional wrestling show, they're like quiet. It's like theater there. So, but it'll be. I think it'll. So I'm not expecting like Game 7 World Series type stuff, but I expect it to be pretty entertaining and the fans to be loud and cheerful. Because, like you said, there's a lot of representation from their country on both these teams. Don't forget we have Seiya Suzuki too.
Right, you got Suzuki, Ohtani, Yamamoto, Imanaga. Is there anybody else? That's the question. I don't think so. Thinking
off the top of my head, I don't think so.
No, I think that's it for the Dodgers, and I know that's it for the Cubs. All right, so busy offseason. Got Kyle Tucker, Presley, Justin Turner, Matthew Boyd. What do you think was the biggest move first? Let's start with that.
The biggest move to me was getting Kyle Tucker, right? That's the biggest move. Obviously you're getting a guy that, by all rights is, if you look at the numbers, is just as good as Juan Soto. Like he matched up their numbers. He had an off year last year because of the injury. But I'm friends with a lot of guys who run a podcast and cover Houston sports, the Just Fans podcast, and they said, you got a guy. This is a guy. So we'll see. They also said that about Nearest, so I question their opinions now. But nonetheless, I think that Tucker's going to be huge. This was like this off season. It was like a roller coaster for me because it's like, okay, we make the move for Kyle Tucker. We're like, we're all in, baby. We're like this. this is the team. And then it's like, oh, we're going to ship Cody Bellinger out for peanuts. It's like, well, what do we do that for? Like, why not keep him and maximize this lineup? Like, who cares if we're jam locked at right field or the fielders? Like, let's figure it out. Like, the more talent you have, the better your team's going to be. And then it was just like, then you had the owner come out saying we're lucky to break even. Get out of here with that BS, JB. Like, I mean, that's, like I was born at night, but I wasn't born last night. So so it's just like, what was that? And then they make the trade for Ryan Presley after that, so then they add in, Justin Turner for some nice veteran experience. They didn't really, it didn't seem like we were about to get, Bregman. It looked like we were all in on Bregman for a little while, right? And so it's like, why couldn't we? Now, I think the Red Sox gave him a little bit more than what we were offering, and I'm okay with that. Like, hey, I'm okay if he didn't come here with that contract at his age. But it's like, why couldn't we got that deal done? How come we're not spending a little bit more to make sure that we are going to be, right there contending in the NLC, in the National League? I know the Dodgers are going to be the number one team. But, why can't we be like right below them as far as like talent wise? And it just seemed like an up and down roller coaster year. So it's like, it's like we take 2 steps forward, 1 step back this off season. So it's just like Jed and Ricketts need to make up their mind what kind of team they're going to be. But don't lie to me and tell me you're lucky to break even. Wrigley Field's filled up no matter what, every dang game, no matter what our record is. Plus, you guys bought all that property around and built that Wrigleyville up. Like, don't tell me we're lucky to break even. We're not the Pittsburgh freaking Pirates here.
Pretty scary when you say things like that, and it's not really true. What's your thoughts on Justin Turner? I mean, where does he fit into this team? He's older.
I think he can be a bit like different position, right? But a better David Ross, as just far as like a veteran in the clubhouse. Will he DH, play a little bit of third, possibly? Just be a good veteran, be a guy that we have a lot of young talent on this team still. It looks like this Shaw kid's going to be coming up, and he's, whether he's going to make the opening day roster, I don't know, but he'll be brought up shortly to play third base, so he can mentor him. So he's going to be a good mentor. I think he'll be like a David Ross-esque, but better.
That's fair. So, all right, in Tokyo, 2 games that matter. What do you think they do?
Man, if we split, I'll be happy.
Okay. A lot of miles for a split, but it is the Dodgers, so I'll give you that.
I mean, we're talking the defending World Series champions, and then they went out and added more this offseason and got better. Yeah.
That's what you're supposed to do. Can't blame him for that.
Hey, take notice, Ricketts. Take notice.
So where can people find you?
Y'all know you can find me right here at the Bodkin Show on YouTube. We'll be actually going live here in about 30 minutes for our MMA show. Plus every Sunday morning, we do like kind of a weekly wrap up of just life, sports, music, movies. We talk it all Sunday mornings, and then Sunday nights. Now that football season's over, sitting down with different podcasts and people all over the world.
Nice. Well, love what you do, man. I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Denzel's got you next week, but be good.
Have fun, JP. It's a long trip over there. Be safe. Try the soju and the chew highs.
Chew highs. You got it.
Yeah.
All right, man. It's a pleasure. Make sure you check out the Bakken Show. Great show. Gotta love what Nick does. We'll see you next week, Nick. Denzel, season 4, first show. I think it was phenomenal. I think there's great things to come. We're going international. We're not just the show throughout the U.S. I mean, because we have people all over the U.S. The pundits all the way in Atlanta. Jason and myself are in the Chicago area. Denzel's in Houston. We're all over. But now we're going international, so stay tuned. Denzel will see you next week. He's going to host. But until next week, this is Cubfidential Season 4. See you next week.